Hello and welcome back to Project 944. We're once again here at LUDEN Automotive, and today we're going to be doing something on the car which has been quite on the top of my list for a while now. We're actually going to be deep cleaning the interior, and if we get time in this video, we'll also do the outside. If not, that's going to be another video as well. But we've got a lot of things to do. We've got to clean all the carpets, got to clean all of the seats. We've also got some leather recolor, so hopefully give them a little bit of life back, and also just clean up the interior just because it's really grimy and horrible and rusty inside. So let's get to work. So first things first, we removed the seats by unbolting them from the securing points and unhooking all the cables. Once that was sorted, we took a look around all the areas that we needed to clean and removed all of the debris. Fortunately, most of the mess is from the seats themselves and rail rust staining the carpet, so it's not awfully bad, but not ideal either really. So let's get to work. Okay, so seats have been removed and also the other carpet interior trim as well. So now what we've got to do is we've got to use a hoover, clean up the majority of the carpet inside the car, and then we're going to remove it to clean it. With the seats now removed, it was time to use our industrial hoover to pick up all that nasty 30-year-old dirt, dust and grime, ready for us to give the carpet a good clean and steam to help remove some of the age stains plaguing the interior. Fortunately, there wasn't that much to actually get rid of, it was just mainly stones and some dirt. Okay, so far both sides have now been hoovered, which is good. The next job we're going to have to do is we're going to have to remove the center console in order to remove the carpets here. So bit of an annoying job to say the least, but it badly needs a clean, as you can see, so well worth it in the end. Next up, we needed to unbolt the center console in order for us to remove the front carpet successfully from the car. Fortunately, this is just a couple of screws, so it didn't take long.
So we've got most of this carpet off with all of the lovely shoe glue. Let's take the seat belts off, which is now here. Hello. Hello there. He's trying to do his side.
Yep, so I've managed to get the kick plate off, which took a little bit fiddling, but it is now out.
I've had a slightly easier time on my side, is that this is all velcroed in, which I believe is kind of, it's a bit dark down there, but our kind of ECU equivalent, the DME, did you call it?
DME, yeah.
DME. And we're not sure if this is Porsche original or if someone's just fashioned it. It does the trick. It's got velcro to keep the carpet in, but I know someone's just, it's got duct tape on the bottom of it, so I'm suspicious, but it does the job.
Yeah, it does the job.
It's hidden, no one sees it.
If it's not Porsche, it's done really well, so
yeah.
It's not too bad. So yeah, making good progress. Fortunately, despite the radio being a pain in the arse, we actually don't need to completely remove the console. It just needs to come out from under there. So
yeah, you would have seen us struggling a bit to get this out because it is essentially wedged in. It's not really secured in any way. It's just stuck in the console, so tricky to get out.
Yeah, it's not ideal really. But then again, we're going to be replacing that at some point anyway, so it's kind of I suppose a test to see how much of a pain in the arse it's going to be in the future. But yeah, I mean, progress is good, and hopefully we should get this completed today. With all the important bits removed, taking out the carpets was quick and easy, aside the 30-year-old glue.
Cool, so we just got this main boot carpet out, which is what Liam wanted, with the storage flat thingies on the side. But a slight problem has arisen is I didn't realise that was the only bit Liam wanted out, so I have started fully stripping all the carpet from in here. Unscrewed it at this point here, and taken all these, it's got kind of pop rivets that go into here. And I started taking the seat back out, which stays in this little housing, and it's now retracted as if it's detected it needs help. So
yeah, that's the beauty of 30-year-old seat belts. It thinks finally I get to be in action, and then yeah, it's actually just as trying to remove it. But worst case scenario, we can undo it from this side, and we should be able to retract it manually and fix it. So it's not too much of a problem. But the good news is, we've finally sorted out our interior issue, so we can now take out this part, which you will see in a moment, and then we've only got the front part of the carpet and then the rear seats, and then we should be good to get going on cleaning and restoring them. Now everything was removed from the car. Okay, so while we're working out how to remove the carpet from underneath the pedal, I'm going to be using some Auto Clean leather cleaner to clean up these rather lovely 944 Sport seats, and then we've also got some colour restorer just to bring back the leather to its original sort of colour, because they're not cream, but they're not white, so ivory is the best bet in what we want to be able to achieve. For the seats, we're using Auto Clean leather cleaner. Once again, not sponsored, just to clear that up. I worked it into the seats with a medium bristle brush, making sure to get into all the tight areas and really remove all that dirt and build up from over the years. Then I wiped it down and it was pretty much ready to go. Okay, so seats all cleaned with leather cleaner. Now it's time to apply our leather recolor to see if we can bring it back a little bit. Recoloring the seats was an oddly therapeutic process, and one which gave me great joy slowly seeing the seats come back to life and revive their vibrancy. Naturally, this stuff isn't going to fix cracking or deep wear, but it will reduce their harshness to the eye. It's difficult to capture on camera, but the difference in person was pretty substantial. Needless to say, I think that's a pretty big win.
Okay, so Liam's been cleaning the seats, and it's time for me, after faffing around with the seatbelt and getting that fixed, kind of, to try and attack this carpet. So, we have rubbish carpet, boot carpet also, other carpet there. I have a steamer, which I've stolen from a member of my family, and we are working with Auto Clean Interior Shampoo.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Liam is just a shill. And then also just a plastic brush to try and work it around on the carpet. So hopefully it goes alright. Because this is nasty, especially where the seat rails have been. You can see lots of kind of rusty spots and yeah. So let's get to work. I'll put you guys on the tripod and we'll have fun.
With the seats drying, Jared got started on working the shampoo into the carpets to lift off all the nasty grime out of the fabric. It also makes steam cleaning just that little bit easier. And it didn't take long either. The seats have now been recolored. It's going to be difficult to tell on camera, but there is absolutely a huge difference in colour on these seats now that we've recolored them. As you can see, it's even helped fill in a lot of the cracks, which were much more obvious before. So all in all, these are looking pretty mega. So now I shall be helping Jared with steam cleaning the carpets. Next up, we steamed the carpets in order to attempt to remove a lot of the discolouring and stains from the fabric. Admittedly, this didn't truly go as we had hoped, and the results, although they were better than before, were not to the standard we hoped or expected. But admittedly, this is more likely in part due to our incorrect use of the steamer, so not all is lost. Okay, so we've done what we can to the carpets. They're not really coming out as we hoped, but it's better than nothing. They are a little bit cleaner than they were when they came out. Next up, we're going to do some sound deadening in the car, so we're going to have to vacuum the entire of the floor space as well as in the boot area, because we'll put some in there as well. And that means that when we put the new sound deadening in, it should in theory muffle some of those nasty road noises that unfortunately classic cars will have, because they have much less sound deadening than modern cars. So let's get with it. With all the carpets cleaned, if that's what you want to call it, we started work on removing the existing sound deadening and giving all the panels some good hoovering. Incredibly, all of the panels underneath the carpets and sound deadening were in incredible condition, which is certainly a nice comfort considering the rest of the car. Okay, so sound insulation now out. We're going to be replacing it with some brand new shiny one. Needless to say, 30 years worth of technology and sound deadening coming into play here. So hopefully it should help us keep the sound down inside the cabin. This is Dodo Dead Mat, so to speak. Used this on my Mark II Escort back in 2016 and actually did make a big difference. So hopefully in a car that is, what, 10, 15 years younger, should make even more of a difference. You just being inconvenient, yeah. Lovely. Do like to get in the way, don't you? Come on, that way. In your box. Good boy. No, that's not quite the box, that's the camera. Okay, so drawing around the sound deadening, so hopefully we should be able to get a roughly correct shape. If we're correct, we should be able to do 2 front footwells, 2 smaller rear ones, and also a little bit off the back, so fingers crossed we have enough.
When it came to cutting out the new sound deadening panels, there wasn't actually a need to be absolutely perfect, as our sound deadening is going underneath and out of sight. And fortunately, with Buster's outstanding help, we made good progress. We used the existing sound deadening panels to cut a template, then we laid our new sound deadening into the footwell. I also discovered that the DME computer on the 944 was just left there floating around and not actually fastened down, so needless to say, we'll be getting some screws for that in the near future. Now, if you're wondering why we're being careful with the old sound deadening when we removed it, that's because we're actually going to be reusing it over the top of the new Dodo Dead Mat to get double the amount of effectiveness.
Sound deadening is in the car. Now to get everything back together to hopefully look a little bit better than it did before.
With sound deadening now installed, it's time for the carpets to be chucked back in and for us to make progress on getting the interior looking like it should again. Reapplying the carpets is super easy, with them just slotting back into place with ease. The only real points of mild annoyance are lining up the front and rear carpets perfectly, but once this has been sorted, it's fairly simple to install. With the carpets back in, not quite as clean as we wanted them to be, we then needed to start work on the center console, and to also get rid of that damn radio.
So, sit rep on what's going on. The carpets are now fully back in, the trim is applied. All we've got to do now is put the center console back into position and apply the seats, and then that should be the interior done.
Now, this bloody Ford radio that has been rammed in here at some point is a massive pain in the arse and just didn't want to cooperate whatsoever.
Okay, so console is now completely out. Finally.
Yay!
Yeah, had to aim at you.
Hello.
That was an absolute pain to get out. Thank you, Ford, for that one.
Well,
But
I wouldn't blame Ford for that. I'd blame whoever owned this before and decided to literally smash it into the dash.
yeah, it was probably wedged in. So that is now off, so we can now get back to work.
With the radio issues now resolved, we got to work on securing the center console back into its original position, ready to go.
Okay, so we now have a center console back in the car. A little bit neater than before, which is nice with things all reattached, apart from the gaping hole now from where the Ford radio was, which will be replaced by a double din soon. So now, all we've got is
Seats, they're on the other side.
the seats, which are over there. It's put in. And then we're pretty much done with the interior.
With everything else now completed, it was time to put our nice newly recolored seats back onto their rails and tidy up everything ready for its first big adventure out. Both sides were fairly easy to refit, the only concerns were making sure that the seat rails didn't catch on the sills and scratch the paintwork. I'd prefer not to have yet another thing to repair on this car. It is worth mentioning that although we steamed and cleaned as much of the parts while they were out of the car, they haven't been fully deep cleaned. This is something that we'll be sure to do in the next coming episodes in order to get the car as fresh as we can for its MOT. All in all, this task is a mixed bag. The seats and sound deadening was certainly a highlight, but admittedly the steaming of the carpets has lower results than expected. So that's it for today's video. Certainly an interesting one. I think it was a lot of work for not really much reward. I can't say it's been a complete failure because we've completely recolored all the seats and they actually look really good. It's going to be difficult to pick that up on camera, but in person they really do make a difference. And obviously we've also sound deadened the car. So when this drives, a lot of that, annoying road noise should be eliminated. For the rest of it, steaming of the carpets didn't really go well. It did make some difference, but not enough for me to say it was worth taking out the interior for. We have fixed some of the issues with the center console, so now the gearbox gator actually sits in its correct housing, which is great. And then obviously we're going to have to think about getting a new radio / double din for this car as well. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do leave a like below and be sure to subscribe for more Project 944 and other cars in the future. Take care guys, we'll catch you in the next one.